What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Cleveland Pulse YouTube channel. I am your host, Justin Harold, and with me, as always, my co-host, Jeff Santa. Today is a hangover Monday for you Cleveland Browns fans, along with us. Currently 3-3 after dropping to the Arizona Cardinals, 37-14. Arizona moving on to 6-0. Browns, like I said, moving on to 3-3. A tough one yesterday. The box score not really indicative of. In Jeff's words, indicative of what could have been even worse, of course, and just a whole lot of, there's no real good to talk about today. Honestly, I think today is just going to be pretty substantial in terms of just talking about the negatives and what needs to be corrected in a short week leading up into our 7th game of the year. But with that all being said, Jeff, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. I think you just said maybe the only positive is that we really don't have time outside of today, especially the team, look at film, and that's all you're going to get for this game. We got a game on Thursday. So hopefully the short memory works in our favor. And I think the second positive is for the fans. I think that I think even we could say it now, we had 5 losses last year. We already have 3 this year, and me and you both had us having 4 losses. So I think the optimism.
I think I only had 3, Jeff, to be honest with you.
Yeah. You had 3, I had 4.
So we're already at the quota for me.
I think that you got to look at last year. The facts are the facts. We're the only team in the postseason with a negative point differential. And, our schedule, I've been saying it all year. We're not playing the NFC East anymore. Our schedule is 10 times harder than it was last year. There's fans in every opposing building. It's totally different. So I think this is a necessary loss for the fan base to really wake up and see that we're going to have to scrap every week out of the year. We're not just going to roll people up.
I think you say it's necessary.
It is.
I know what you mean by that, Jeff. Of course, I know what you mean by that. But God, do I just not want to go on Twitter at all this week because of the fan base. But let's just ignore that for a little bit. I do agree with you. To be honest with you, our first 6 games last year compared to this year, I'd have to go back and look. But you're right. I don't think we played as tough of teams as we played in the first 6 weeks. Obviously, a lot of people probably didn't think the Cardinals would be this good. I suspected they'd be good. I suspected coming into this game they'd be 5-0 good, but they're a hell of a team. We talked about it in the preview, they have a ton of weapons over there, guys that just make plays, get open. And even when they don't get open, they still, make plays after the catch and all that. So props to the Cardinals. They played, their game against us. And for us, there's a lot of things to evaluate on every side of the ball. The only improvement from the prior 5 weeks is that maybe Jamie Gillen was a lot better yesterday than he's been all season. And that's probably the only positive you can take away. I think the only thing I'd like to start off with just talking about is we've had our moments in this season where I think we've all, I know Jeff and I have talked about it play calling wise. There have been questionable play calls in certain moments of the games. However, I think, and I talked to my dad about this, there was a lot to think about, but the one thing was I don't think I've ever seen Kevin call such a poor first quarter or just bad. a quarter's worth of bad play calling, and that was truly evident. There's also the fact that I don't think we really got to play football in that first quarter with the amount of penalties that we had on ourselves, and that you can't say anything about the penalties outside of whatever you wanted to say last week about them, you're just playing sloppy at this point. And, it looks like the Freddie Kitchens year where, we would just get penalized all to hell. And, it hurts us. But again, 37-14, we're lucky it wasn't worse than what it is. I have a lot to say about the play calling and what's been going on, especially with our injuries and how we went about calling this game. But Jeff, talking about that first quarter, is there anything you want to hit on really quickly?
Dude, that first quarter was maybe the most boring quarter of football I've ever watched in my life. I was so close to just turning it off. I wanted to just move wherever I was and just go turn it on in a different room because I was literally so bored sitting there. And I don't know, I guess if you smack talk the refs all week and after you lose a game, I guess they don't really care about you anymore, or they got it out for you because there's just some egregious calls, but it doesn't matter this week. It's not like it mattered. It's not like that. I don't ever think that's going to be the difference in the game. I understand that the PI calls could be the difference in some games, but this week it doesn't really matter. Kevin Stefanski, I don't know, man. You can't even say anything like drastic about him because he's the reigning coach of the year, but it's like, why are we so fixated? You can't be fixated on an independent variable when there's other variables that coexist with it. Both of our tackles are injured. Both of our starting tackles are injured. He comes out
into what I think you're going to get into.
He comes out no protection.
Yep.
Why are we in the empty backfield? Yep. I'm literally looking at it. I didn't even think the Browns were on. I thought I was watching the wrong game because when all season has Baker been standing in the backfield by himself? Never. Yep. And now both of our tackles are missing, and he gets all cute.
Well, I don't think it's never. I know we've done 5 wide a lot. But the ridiculousness of the facts of this game. All right, you come into it, both your tackles are out. You have a rookie right tackle, and you have a guy who
it's not even his position.
And to be fair, we're down 3 of our 6 best offensive linemen if you count Chris Hubbard, who was the swing guy who would have filled in at one of those tackles. So you're down 3 of your best offensive linemen at the 2 most valuable positions on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Jeff talked about it. The 5 wide is ridiculous. The other thing that I've never or I haven't seen a lot of is tight ends blocking. But how about when you have Kareem Hunt or whoever's in at running back on these passing downs? How often is it that they just fly right out of the backfield to go for a pass? They don't even block. They don't chip. They don't block. What are you doing? We already know Baker's hurt. He got re-hurt in this game. That's that. We know about that. He got re-hurt in this game. But Baker, to be fair, this game, the pressure was so bad. Like for the fact that we had 14 points out of Baker scrambling at the end of the first half to throw a Hail Mary is just like, I think it was the tone of the whole game. It's like, I don't think there was any time. And the one time we had time, great. But there was a pass to Odell that was like 20 yards downfield after we had gotten a flag. That's great. But that's the only time that, protection was good to great.
No, a couple things here. No. I'm glad that you brought this up because I'm ready. I'm about ready. We can go at it here because I'm ready.
Go for it.
First of all, this is to all the people because I'm just going to be taking shots at who you are if you're on Twitter or you're on YouTube or whoever. Just all episode, all video. I'm going to be doing it. If you think our starters are bad, James Hudson multiple times, and he's not playing his position. He's a rookie. I understand, but he played good last weekend. Kind of for the most part for being his first start. I mean, it's only the kid's second start, and he's faced Bosa and JJ Watt. Sorry, rookie. Multiple times though, missed assignment. It's not even like he got beat. He was blocking. He didn't even block JJ Watt off the edge like 2 plays. That's first of all. 2. Here's what you can't. There's no complaining about pressure, and there's no complaining about. All right, before I get into this, Kareem Hunt probably shouldn't have played 2020 if he was really that banged up, because I don't think we didn't want to establish a run with him, and we didn't want to have him block. So he's just going to get hurt. The only reason out there is he might get hurt. Yeah. But the one drive, and here's the big thing, the one drive that we actually scored. Mm-hmm. Baker we didn't ask him to do anything. We asked him to hand the ball off a couple of times, and Kareem had big runs, and we asked him to make short throws, and the throw to the end zone was perfect, and it was an easy route. That's how when the Browns are exceeding, that's when they're excelling on all levels. You can't complain about, we don't have any wide receivers. We don't have any protection. We don't have any offensive linemen. We're not even paying them anything. Do you think that the offensive composition of this team is going to get better or going to get worse if we pay Baker Mayfield 30, 35, even 25 million? It's going to get worse. So if we're not even paying him anything now, and our backups are trash because Chris Hubbard is hurt, okay, that's a little bit unlucky. But is Wyatt Teller going to walk? Is Denzel Ward going to walk on the defensive side of the ball if we give Baker Mayfield 35 mil? That's the whole point. I know that we got to be looking at this season, but this is a contract year. I understand he's hurt, but I haven't seen anything. He against his peers. Herbert lost, Kyler lost, Mahomes lost. He's played better than Justin Fields through 6 weeks. Whoop-de-doo. Tyrod Taylor played better than him.
Yeah, I mean, as far as talking about the backups, or just like the guys that filled in for others. Yeah, Hudson, he's a rookie, and to be fair, he plays left tackle. I feel like it would be. I don't know if that really, depends too much. Usually, the transition from right tackle to left tackle is a lot harder. They talked about potentially doing that with Conklin last year, with Jedrick being a rookie and everything. That being said, the play calling is just so bad. Like, I can't get over the fact that we didn't run the ball once in that first series, and then again in the second series. But that one drive, yeah, Kareem was excellent, but I don't think after that, I think the majority of his yards were in that drive. And
all of them.
Yeah, and not to say that I can completely understand there's a lot of things to talk about with Baker from this game. I, again, personally don't think let's be honest. If it was as easy as what it was for Kyler Murray to just play against our defense, I think Baker would have done just as well with the Cardinals. But to be fair, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it does not matter. I'm not going to make the excuse, put him on another team and he does better.
I just think the play he had the most time out of the OBJ play, Rashard Higgins was wide open and he completely missed him. He airmailed him 20 yards. It was the pick. That play, he had all the time in the world and their defense was MIA and he threw it right to him.
Wait, you said the OBJ play.
You said the OBJ play, that was his most protection. But the play he threw the interception, he was standing in the backfield. Nobody was around him, and Higgins was wide open, and he airmailed him. And it was a pick.
Well, I know about the interception. I'll have to go again. I have the unfortunate, not unfortunate, because I love going to these games and everything.
You have bad.
I don't have a great perception of, because there's a lot of times that you just you look down the field because that's kind of the thing to do on pass plays occasionally. But yeah, I'll take your word for it. Absolutely. And yeah, that drive where Baker just throws it to DPJ. Yeah, he didn't do a lot, but I think he did a lot before that. And then after that, I don't even want to talk about this game after the second half because we didn't do anything. The only two times that we got defensive stops on defense. What happens? The first drive, we haven't even started to talk about the defense yet. The drive stalls on the first go, and then second go, Baker, fumbles and hurts his arm again or hurts his shoulder again. Offensively, I just don't know. I mean, OBJ looked good, got hurt at some point, but he looked good. Kareem again rushed 14 times for 66 yards. That's a 4.7 average. But it's so weird. Just I can't get over the play calling this year. It's just a lot of things are just so up in the air about what are we doing? Why don't we have the routes? And maybe it's just because of the defensive protection or the defensive play calling that we're going with, but it's just these guys for the Cardinals were doing slant routes and are just wide open. They're not pressed or anything. Mm-hmm. And it's just easy throws like that, which I don't think we've gotten a lot of that. For some reason, I feel like a lot of our throws have been designed to be medium to deep range, and we don't have the protection for that. And we don't have the timing routes down for that. And it's really hard to get into the specifics of play calling because, listen, I went to 2 football games this weekend. I went to Eds versus Moeller, and I went to the Browns versus Arizona. It's so easy to just sit up in the stands and play call as a fan. And I'm sure everyone, everyone does it. Everyone does it. No one, I guarantee there's no one just sitting there going, yeah, I like that play call every time. It's just not going to happen. But at the same time, the 4th down shit is dumb. There's got to be
numbers are bad. The stat that we don't convert this year. We have had 4 sacks on 4th down. That's you're calling the wrong play. You're calling the absolute wrong play.
And the one time we went on 4th down, and I think the second half we threw a pass, and we got it. But
that play was good though.
Right, but I'm just saying, in that moment, Jeff, are you not also in your head thinking, just please run the football? That's what I was thinking. Dear God, I was just saying, please run the football. It was 4th and short. I was thinking a sneak even. But that being said, take the points. We have not done. We had so many bad just things happen to us on fourth down and it's not even like bad happened to us. We just had poor execution on fourth down, and it needs to stop. Chase McLaughlin, he's done great. He hasn't missed a kick yet for us. So just let the dude kick the ball. If you kick that field goal, you're down, I believe, 9 points at halftime, right? It was 20.
No, I think you're down 6.
Yeah, you're down a touchdown. So
23 to 14.
And it makes the game a lot easier to call coming out of halftime. This is a bad loss. It's really, last year we had 2 of these. We had 2 of these games. It happened one at the very beginning of the season, great mulligans. But again, it happened against a division rival. The
Steelers destroyed us last year in week 6.
Yep. That's
we don't play good in week 6. We don't play good in the first.
Yeah, we don't play well in the first 6 weeks, apparently. But like Jeff was alluding to earlier, and God, we still haven't even talked about the defense.
We got a long way to go.
Yeah. My thing is, here's the thing with your Baker point. Yes, did Baker not do well yesterday? I think that could be said for everyone. Let's go around the team right now. Who's the one player that did really well? McLaughlin and Gillen probably are your 2 best players. And then you go to the defensive side. Okay, great. Miles has a sack. That doesn't matter if they're putting up 37 points. I'm sorry to tell you. It's just like the Hail Mary. The Hail Mary does not matter in the great scheme of things because you lost 14 to 37. There's no positives to take out of this game. Myles Garrett having a sack. Oh, great. He's probably still the sack leader now. I don't really care about that if we're losing games. Like, am I wrong in saying that? Jadeveon Clowney comes back, has
empty
a sack.
Stats.
Yeah, they're just meaningless. They're so meaningless. And my thing with the whole putting all the blame on Baker is we put all the blame on Baker when we lose. It's what it seems like to me, at least. I understand that you and I have a better discourse about this than what I see on Twitter for the most part. But when we win, it's everyone else did something that's at least not like it's just the way with the quarterback system. Or in the NFL. It's just they get all the praise, they get all the hate, but God, in Cleveland, does it feel like there's so little praise for anything that happens? And obviously the wins that we've had this year haven't been by the means of Baker Mayfield, but have the losses been, besides this one, have the losses been on Baker Mayfield realistically? In games that we're leading, Baker threw an interception at them. Okay. Of the Chiefs game. Yeah, that's a bad play. Up until that point, he was almost perfect, was, I believe, outplaying Mahomes up until that point. Nick Chubb fumbles the football, but that's, out of everyone's mind already. The Chargers game, we're up 40 some points. We're up almost 2 scores at halftime. Our defense allows 500 some yards and 47 points. I hate to tell you this. I hate to tell the people out there this. It does not matter who you're putting in at quarterback at that point in time for those games. Sure, could Aaron Rodgers have won you that game at LA for throwing a Hail Mary? Guess what? Those happen so little that's the only person I could think of realistically winning you that game with how things were going. And it's just that simple for me personally, but I understand the critiques and the idea of like, all right, he's been in situations where he has to win. But again, play calling takes you out of those systems when, hey, if we're not throwing the ball in the second half as much as we should be, then a rhythm's gone. These guys that are playing for behind, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, when they catch fire, they catch fire. And that's just how well it goes for them. But if you're trying to play the game from ahead, things get taken out of your hands for Baker Mayfield. You just don't throw the ball as much and you lean on the running game. And there's been questionable play calling. And I think that's a lot of what's happening here. And I guess I'll end the offensive talk with, we're 3-3. We're missing 4, 5 key players in my mind. Nick Chubb, Jarvis Landry,
don't matter.
2 offensive tackles. Yeah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Still got to win games.
Lamar's missing everybody, smoking people. Lamar's the best quarterback in the AFC.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no, there's no arguing that he's been able to do great things. But again, at the end of the day, you have to overcome these things, just like Lamar has. The team in general has to overcome these things, but offensively, play calling needs to get better. Baker needs to play better. The offensive line, I guess you just want to say they get healthy, and that's all you got to move on from at this point. With that being said, Jeff, before we go on to the defense, what left do you have to say about the offense?
Yeah, the play calling, it's just been a culmination of a lot of factors. The play calling has not been very good. I don't understand where our offensive line is healthy and Stefanski wants to do these bubble screens and stuff where we get our linemen downfield. And then that's when we should be taking shots down the field in the pocket. And now I didn't see any of that yesterday. I don't know why you don't have James Hudson rolling out to the right side, trying to get downfield. I guess Stefanski in the post-game press conferences are it's getting annoying because it really is that he has to be better every week. And it seems like every week he's getting worse. He's not, I haven't seen him get any better. I thought the Chargers game was pretty good, but that was easy. Their run defense sucked. That was easy. This week, we can't, Chandler Jones isn't playing and we can't scheme up something for a pass rush and, move the ball down the field. But yeah, I think that's all I got for the offense. Cause I actually have some hot takes about the defense because that people aren't going to want to hear because I think it was less of the defense's fault than people want to believe about yesterday.
Gotcha. Yeah, I totally agree with your points there. And I feel like you have more to say, and I'm willing to listen to you.
I just don't even know. I honestly
it's hard,
don't
right?
even know what to say. I really don't. Baker has played. He's played average. That's all you could say. I'm not saying that. I don't think you could say that the other losses are solely his fault. The defense has played bad. We've had mistakes. That first game specifically against the Chiefs, we had mistakes, but you're in a contract year. Quarterbacks do go down and win the game. Like that's what you have to do. Even like people want to say we didn't even need let's just say we needed a field goal against the Chargers to win, which we didn't hypothetically. Couldn't even get us in a field goal range in 70 seconds. I mean, come on, man. It's
a different type of
it just feels like when he plays
though.
bad, it just is magnified. I feel like other quarterbacks around the league, if you throw an interception up 10 or 14 points, that's one thing. If we're into the game, which this transitions to the defense, what was the Cardinals starting field position yesterday in the first half? Like our 40-yard line, and our defense on 2 turnovers gave up field goals both times. Our defense kept us in the game in the first half. We still gave up 23 points, but it should have been 35. We're down 9 at half, and our defense only gave up both of those, the fumble and the interception. They started on our 25 or 30 both times, and we gave up field goals. We should have been in that game, and then we got to stop coming out of the second half. If we go down and score a touchdown on the first drive of the second half, it's a 2-point game.
Yeah. Well, they scored a touchdown in that first quarter, and then they went on to
they scored 16 in the second quarter. Their first drive was good. We have terrible first drives.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I think you look at this week and last week and just the total yardage in terms of what our defense has given up.
We outgained them. We outgained them passing. Them passing.
Yeah. And I mean,
that's bad. I know they were running the clock out, but.
Well, I think, Jeff, and to be fair, I was wrong coming into this week. I said that I thought our run defense was very good. Our run defense was horrible yesterday.
Their run offense is good, though.
Is it, though? Is it, is it Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt good, though? Is Chase Edmonds really going to rip off, for 46 and James Conner? I mean, James Conner is steady.
Well, Chase Edmonds banged up, but between all three of them, between those two and Kyler, it's probably better than Chubb and Kareem. Honestly,
let's calm down there.
No, I'm not.
Realistically, that's not
how
true.
How much did Tyler run for?
The 2 and 2 running backs, 6 yards.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think that Lamar solo is pretty comparable to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. just because he's out there every play. I think Kyler could burn you and run for 50 yards just like Nick Chubb can. I think Edmonds was banged up and he had a big run. I mean, we could granted our run defense, I think, like you said, is trash, but it looked trash yesterday. We can't tackle. What happened to I thought we were going to be able to tackle this year. We can't bring anybody down.
Well, let's get into that, because as of right now, what was our biggest, what was one of our biggest, I'll just straight up say it, bitching points of last year? Andrew Sandejo at safety, and the lack of like our starting safeties just being any good last year, because, Ronnie Harrison was out. Greg Joseph wasn't phenomenal by any means of the standard. Our safeties this year, at least guys like Sandejo actually came up and made a lot of tackles. It's not happening this year. Dudes are just getting. John Johnson has been, terrible. Terrible. And I don't want to like harp on these things being like, oh, they're so bad. Like, this was such a bad signing, whatever. Ronnie Harrison, bad. Grant Delpit, bad. I just don't know what's going on though. What happened from week 3 and 4 where
Malcolm Smith was a green dot? That's the first thing you got to talk about. I don't care about. It's unlucky that Anthony Walker's been the green dot against Arizona, Los Angeles, and Kansas City. If Malcolm Smith's healthy this week, Anthony Walker needs to. This is my problem with the NFL, and because I've never played football at a high level to understand defenses and are we supposed to be in a zone or are we supposed to be in a man? That's your expertise, but. Because I thought some plays yesterday, Greg Newsome thought we were supposed to be in a man, and other people thought, or I don't even know what's going on. Some people thought we were supposed to be in a zone. Some people were man on man. It was very weird. But you can't tell. There's 2 people plus a couple others in the organization. Kevin Stefanski and Joe Woods are the only 2 people who really know it's the scheme. So like you said, it's easy to come out here. Our scheme sucks. I think that's the plausible reason. I think our scheme, you cannot say our scheme is good, but you can't say for certain that these guys are they not understanding it? Are they out of place? And it's different because I heard people talk about this and I actually like this point. It's different if a 3rd string tight end is wide open in the end zone. DeAndre Hopkins is wide open in the end zone. Nobody in the camera shot.
Yep.
How is this possible?
Yep. Yeah, and part of me wants to say that, and again, this is where it's weird, because this is kind of the point that I was trying to make earlier about, because now I feel like we're getting back into the conversation of Joe Woods needs to, be taken a look at, whatever. But where we talk about the whole Baker Mayfield thing and the just like, how they play, our players on defense are outside of Myles Garrett are just not playing well. Like straight up, John Johnson not playing as advertised, nowhere near that. Ronnie Harrison not playing anywhere as good as he was last year. Grant Delpit not being a 2nd round pick as advertised, playing as well as that. Our best player outside of Myles is Greedy Williams, who didn't start because Greg Newsome was starting. And granted, Greg Newsome was great until he got hurt. Denzel Ward, he's getting PI'd out of his mind this year. And I can't tell you that those shouldn't be called or not, because they got called. That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, Jadeveon Clowney, it's like Myles, Clowney
played good yesterday. Joke has played.
Joke. Yep. Absolutely. But he's hurt now.
I agree with you. It's disappointing because it's not like these guys are, snuggled into their nice little big boy contracts. In the NFL, Denzel Ward, you have made no money. Baker Mayfield, in the relativity for every Joe Schmoes walking down the street with 200 YouTube subscribers, of course, they're rich compared to us. We know. Denzel Ward, you've made no money. Baker Mayfield, you've made no money. Ronnie Harrison, you've been hurt more than you've been on the field. Clowney is paid and he's playing. Yep. Myles Garrett is played and he's playing. Joke is the only one, but we all thought this year coming in, Ronnie Harrison's going to need to get paid. He's going to be playing his best football. Denzel Ward, people haven't even talked about Denzel Ward appropriately. He has warranted no talk of an extension whatsoever. I'll let him walk right into the offseason. Don't care if it's 6 weeks in. Really don't care. We drafted Greg Newsome. Sorry. He's the Baker on the defense. How are you on a contract year and you're playing your worst football since we've had you?
Yeah, I see a little bit differently with Denzel. I'm outside of the PIs, and I think maybe 2 to 3, big gains on him. I don't think he's played so awful. And again, maybe I'm just a hopeful optimist because I always,
I mean, he gets the best. He gets the best wide receiver, so I probably need to calm down.
But to your point, you're right. Both Baker and Denzel have not done the things that they should have been doing this year. And the big thing on defense is, all right, what kept us in games a lot early on last year was Myles Garrett getting strip sacks as our, source of turnovers. That used to be like a whole storyline of, oh my God, this dude's getting like a strip sack a game. All right, Myles Garrett is no longer doing that. Whether it's something he's changed in his technique or whatever, or it's just not happening, whatever. Don't want to talk or don't want to like hold on to that point.
Right.
The defense in general, the only person that has generated turnovers was someone who wasn't even a starter. And it's just like we are defensively, it's so bad because we can't get off the field by just playing good defense. We don't do that. We don't get off the field on third downs. We don't get off the field on fourth downs. And on first and second downs, teams are just picking up, whatever they want for the most part on us right now. It's a struggle, and I don't know what to pin it down to. It's execution by the players, because when you got guys going this the whole game, it does not bode well for, all right, if Joe Woods called something and guys are going like this, then I'm guessing it's the player's fault. But when it's just like guys are just like their hands are down, whatever, and it's just a bad play call, then yeah, it's Joe Woods. But I can't, it's the one thing this whole year that has eluded us. You look at so many different teams. Look at the Ravens yesterday. They played their most complete game against a very good team, a team that just beat us last week. Granted, they came out from the West Coast, whatever. I don't care. The Ravens played a complete game. Granted, the week before that, they were down. They were losing to the Colts, who I don't think are a great team. I don't think they're a bad team by any means either. Mm-hmm. But at least they've been able to put their team that is, like you said, Jeff, very banged up offensively and defensively. They've been able to put together complete games, which we have not done once this year. Not once. We haven't looked nearly as good as the Ravens, which is bad, which is really bad. For a team that, we get them a little later on in the season, thank God. We're coming up on a really important part of the season now. We've gotten, to your point, we've gotten a lot of the hard games out of the way already. We're not playing the same easy teams from last year, but we've gotten a lot of the hard games out of the way. You have an early game this week, Thursday. You have you have the Steelers the week after at home. Then you have the Bengals. Those two games are more important than anything right now because of the divisional matter. Obviously, I'm not going to go into too much of that, but things need to start turning around now. I think we have a good ball team. There's way too many talented players on this team to be 3-3 average, 500 team. And I think moving forward, we should get a better product. But as of right now, I think it's fair for people to be, critical of the team. But I also don't think I don't think it's worth being so ultra negative to the point where we just so many stupid things on Twitter. I can't go on Twitter and be a Browns.
It's not even negative. I'm going to be on Twitter more this week, but it's not even negative because this is what you actually mean. If you say something, just don't flip flop. Me and you have been saying, okay, we'll probably give this defense 8 weeks. Or 9 weeks, or to the bye week.
It was a pleasant surprise they did well in 2 games.
It's a pleasant surprise. So let's praise them when they do well. But me and you have been saying up into the bye week, go back and look at it. I'm about to start dropping clips in about us saying stuff.
The receipts,
exactly. You cannot say that let's get ahead of the Baker situation and pay him and get a discount, and then he plays average through 6 weeks and say that you're done with him.
Right.
Be one or the other. Now your opinions can change, but let's maybe wait. Let's wait until, we're actually, because people are saying, are we bad? Like you said, we're going to get a better product. We're not bad, but it's unlucky that we now have to play on a short week And this
with
is
a
probably
lot of banged up players.
with a lot of banged up
Kevin got
players,
into.
and this is probably the lowest our morale is going to be the whole year. But that's what makes the blown leads. That's why I'm not even really mad about this game, because I think that this is a good character building game. Like you said, you're at St. Edward High School football game this weekend. That's how the football team has operated there forever since we've been born. You play all these hard teams during the year because we make our own schedule. We're not in a conference. You play everyone that could beat you. So now you're prepared for the end of the year for when you play in the playoffs. But that's what the 13-point leads are so disappointing. They're more disappointing than this loss, because those are games that you should have won, because you know you're probably going to have a dud, eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. You could be 5-1 at this point right now if you're the Cleveland Browns. And that one loss, sure, it could be bad. But again, you'd be tied in division right now with Baltimore Ravens and not behind the Cincinnati Bengals.
Should have 4 wins somehow.
Yeah. But it is what it is. Injury wise, Jokes hurt. Kareem's hurt. We're gonna get updates on Baker's hurt. We're gonna get updates around the board. Obviously, like we said, it's a short week. Thursday night game. So hopefully, who knows? We'll probably get somewhat of an update today. Better update tomorrow. And then, of course, Wednesday will be the final day. Probably make the preview for that. But, Jeff, anything before we call this one quits?
No, we'll be back with more content. And, it's going to be a long season. Lots of ups and downs. Lots of overreactions. Some underreactions. But we're going to make it. Hey, listen, we're 3-3. I think that expectations – I love expectations, because if you're not meeting them, then people have the right to be enraged. We're not, we've been through 1-31. Like, people are like, oh, the sky's falling. Like, we've been through 1-31. Come on, people.
But to your point, Jeff, like you were alluding to, I think very early on in the season, we're a better team than we've been for those 1-31 years.
Absolutely.
And it's right to have the expectations, but to your point, again, if you're going to have those expectations, you should still have the faith that your team can overcome what has happened and not just go completely nutso on Twitter. Let's calm down a little bit on Twitter. Have go outside, touch some grass, and go to work or something. Hopefully you're not stuck in a building all day, but if you are, go outside, touch some grass, and yeah, it is what it is. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. If you guys made it this long through our, Hangover Monday, thank you very much. Please subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification if you do. Leave a like. And surely we want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments this week. Obviously, a lot to talk about. I say that every week, but I think it's been true, but I think it's even more so true this week. And so let us know what you think in the comments. And like Jeff said, we do have a lot of things happening this week, not just only Browns football, but the Cavs are going to get started. We're going to have some Cavs content for you guys, and we're going to bring in some other faces. So it's not just going to be Jeff and I. So look forward to that, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.